we were under the impression that we were going to fight for the country, for freedom, for democracy, and that we'd have freedom to do whatever anyone else did. And we went. I went in World War II. Medgar did too. I went to Pacific. Medgar went to Europe. And when we were there, we had a segregated army. I was battalion sergeant major and construction foreman. And my job was to build pontoon bridges and make sure our troops got over and New Guinea and back and forth across those damn rivers and things safe. Medgar was in Europe. I mean, he was about, I don't know what he was, but I'm a quartermaster, something maybe so. And we came back home after we done served in war. We wanted to have the same privilege our white brothers had, which we had a segregated army. We knew that, which we didn't, back in those days, let's be fair, we didn't thought too much about it, because that's the way it was. It was colored over here and white over here, and even in the army. So when we came back home, we decided, well, now we done been fought the Japanese and the Germans to be free, to have right to be. We're going to rest and vote, because we didn't know who our sheriff was going to be or who our nothing going to be, because we couldn't vote. And we looked around and saw that most of our problems came from elected officials. So how do you get solved? You got to become that, or get rid of those who How you can do that? You got to rest and you got to vote. So then we started trying to get Negroes to go rest and vote. And we both was in Alcorn, and we came out of Alcorn, and my uncle was getting older then, and my dad was in the lumber business, so I had to take over our funeral business because Dad was able. And I began to promote voter registration. Medgar began to vote integration. He applied to Ole Miss, and bam, the hell blew loose. In the meantime, I was fighting to get people registered to vote. Mr. Jim Timms, who I'll always remember, who was the postmaster in Decatur, who had him in white. He's the only one at that time. He had to sign, so some of the alumni to sign authorizing, recommend that you go to Ole Miss. Mr. Jim Timms was the only one that did it.
He's the only one
signed it. And then they said, well, no, you still ain't going to let you come. Yeah. So then I kept pushing for voter registration. And the NAACP heard about us. And then they came down and wanted us to become the field secretary. I said, no. And Medgar took it. I said, Medgar, you take it. So I don't want it. I don't like to be no paid salary. So they took Medgar, got him doing, he took it over. And we kept voter registration working together. Then I got in trouble with the Citizen Council. My good friend Howard Cole, who I love today, he's still living. Howard in bad shape though, owned WHOC in Philadelphia. And Howard was doing my advertising for my funeral home. And one day he said, Evelyn's Funeral Home and Thomas Bell. So I watched. I said, Howard, I don't like, you ain't selling my funeral home. He said, child, you do it. I said, I will. And I got a picture of it to show you. So I sat down between the two turntables at WHOC, and he showed me how to do that, and that's how I got in radio business. So Howard Cole, then after I got on for about maybe 6 months, I started talking about Negroes got to go and rest and vote. Boy, what did I do that for? Citizen Council came after me and all the other people, extremists, and they tried to make Howard fire me. Howard said, I'm not going to fire him. He said, I'm not going to fire him. And Howard Cole stood by me. I said, Mr. Cole, I'm going to get out. I don't want to run your business. He said, no, Charles. I said, I'm going. I stepped down from that, and by that time, my ex-wife at the time was coming I was in the funeral business also, was coming with bodies from somewhere where she was coming from. And somebody ran into the hearse and tore my hearse up and sued me for, I don't know what all this, so I think it's $75,000. I had $75,000 back in those days. And they took everything I had, and I had to leave. And I told Medgar, I said, I'm going to go to Chicago. So I'm going somewhere and making some money. You stay here. And we're going to, whatever I make, I'm going to share it with you. I said, but just keep fighting these crackers. We call y'all crackers every day. Keep fighting these crackers because we're going to come back here and make sure that colored folks have the same right that white folks have. And that's how we kept doing it. And when Medgar was killed, we'd done it earlier, but I made a pact because we were both threatened all the time. And we both started saying, well, look, whichever one of us survive this, other will carry on. And we sort of vowed to that to each other. And if something happened to one of us, don't run. I used to call him Lope all the time. Don't run, not Lope. He said, don't you run, Johnson. I ain't running nowhere. And so we agreed to that. When Medgar was killed, I was in Chicago, done a lot of funny stuff, making money though. And I dropped all of my bootlegging and prostituting or whatever I was doing there, and came home the same night he was killed, and I haven't been back. and that's where we went from there.